Why do we have to spend huge sums of money on building offshore drilling platforms? What kind of benefits will China's 6.5 billion megaprojects bring? Does China have an advantage in the exploitation of deep-sea resources? As terrestrial resources are exhausted, people focus on ocean energy. After all, the water area on the Earth accounts for 71%, which also means that there are a lot of resources in the ocean that humans have not yet exploited. According to relevant statistics, the world's limit oil reserves are 1 trillion tons, and the recoverable oil reserves are 300 billion tons, of which nearly half of the recoverable oil is in the ocean. Moreover, the natural gas reserves in the ocean have also reached 14 billion cubic meters, which is also half of the world's natural gas reserves. So, are there many offshore oil and gas resources that China can exploit? Welcome to Auto Age. Before we start today's video, please subscribe to our channel, which is the encouragement that we can create more videos. In today's video, let's learn about China's marine resources and offshore drilling platforms. At present, 70% of the oil resources currently used in China depend on imports. In 2020 alone, China has bought 500 million tons of oil from the international market, and this data also shows an upward trend every year. Such large-scale imports made China the largest oil importer in the world. Because of this, many people mistakenly believe that China's oil and gas resources are lacking, but the fact is exactly the opposite. China is not short of oil. According to the report, China's proven oil reserves are 40 billion tons and natural gas reserves are 15 trillion cubic meters, 70% of which come from China's coastal waters. Such rich oil and gas resources are likely to make China one of the world's top 5 oil producers. Obviously, China does not lack oil and gas resources, but why does China spend a lot of money on importing oil instead of drilling for oil at sea? In my opinion, oil and gas resources are originally a kind of strategic material for storage. There are only so many that can be exploited in the world. It is of course to buy what can be bought first. It is not late to exploit your own resources. China's previous offshore mining technology was immature, which caused many mining problems, so it imported oil on a large scale. When it comes to China's offshore oil and gas resources, we have to mention the South China Sea. Why is this? Are there many oil and gas resources in the South China Sea? In fact, China's South China Sea has always been regarded as the hope of China's oil industry. It is not only China's most important crude oil trade channel at present, but also contains abundant oil and gas resources on the seabed of the South China Sea. According to relevant data, the total amount of petroleum geological resources in the South China Sea is 31 billion tons, and the total amount of natural gas has reached 16 trillion cubic meters, accounting for about 1/3 of China's total oil and gas resources. It is no wonder that such a huge resource reserve will attract the coveting of neighboring countries, and the battle between neighboring countries in the South China Sea is largely because of the oil and gas resources in the South China Sea. For the oil and gas resources in the South China Sea, China once held a major scientific and technological special meeting in Shenzhen, with the purpose of completing the task of doubling the oil and gas production in South Sea around 2025, and at the same time planning how to exploit and protect China's own resources. However, for offshore oil and gas exploration, this is another world-class problem. The difficulty of mining resources at sea is much more difficult than mining on land. Even the United States is subject to technical requirements and dare not easily start the task of mining resources at sea. As for China, this technology started late, and the manufacturing process of offshore mining platforms is controlled by Westerners. Many accessories for offshore equipment need to be imported, which greatly affects the development of China's marine industry. Leaving this aside, the location of the South China Sea alone is enough to cause headaches. The South China Sea belongs to the Pacific Ocean, which is the most severe sea area for drilling operations in the world. The weather is changeable and typhoons are constant. More than half of them will be hit by typhoons every 12 months of the year. However, for Chinese people who are not afraid of suffering, China has never lacked the determination to face difficulties. What's more, China also has world-class infrastructure engineers. If you want to find the location of oil resources on the vast ocean, and safely exploit oil and gas resources from hundreds of meters deep, or even thousands of meters deep, it is not something that can be done by a few warships and planes, but requires an offshore drilling platform integrating drilling, power, communication, navigation, and other equipment. It must not only ensure the normal work of the staff, but also ensure the safety of the staff's daily life, which is comparable to a small sea city and is an indispensable means of offshore oil exploration. And such a big guy is handed over to Chinese infrastructure engineers to build. As early as 2012, China's self-developed deep-sea drilling platform, HAI-Yang SHIU-981, was successfully located in the South China Sea, opening a channel for China's South China Sea resource exploitation. It integrates the functions of exploration, drilling, and completion. The maximum operating water depth can reach 3,000 meters, and the maximum drilling depth can reach 10,000 meters. The entire project consumed 1,900 tons of steel to create such a big guy. The total cost reached 6 billion yuan. Just when countries are still eager to get a sea fortress like the 981 drilling platform, the hard-working and smart Chinese once again brought them a surprise. For China, 981 is just a pavilion on the roadside, and there is more ahead. This surprise is the latest China-built offshore drilling platform, the Blue Whale. Just from the name Blue Whale, it is not difficult to see that this offshore drilling platform must be even bigger. There are two blue whales, namely Blue Whale number 1 and Blue Whale number 2. They can complete tasks in more than 95% of the world's waters, and are currently the semi-submersible drilling platforms with the deepest operating water and deepest drilling depths in the world. The maximum operating water depth can reach 3,658 meters, and the maximum drilling depth can reach 15,240 meters. Even the largest typhoon on the sea cannot shake the Blue Whale. Among them, Blue Whale number 1 uses a power system provided by Germany, while Blue Whale number 2 uses a power system developed by China, and the localization has reached 80%, which is also the biggest difference between the two. Moreover, Blue Whale number 2 will bring greater returns to China than Blue Whale number 1. This is because Blue Whale number 2 is equipped with a combustible ice mining system. As a new type of clean energy, combustible ice is a source of energy that countries are rushing for, and the proven combustible ice reserves in the South China Sea have reached 19.4 billion cubic meters, which is undoubtedly the largest in the world. Compared with the situation where other countries have no technology and no ability to mine, China's Blue Whale number 2 will undoubtedly bloom more dazzling brilliance. Okay, that's all for today. Please put your comments below, and share your insightful ideas with other people. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Your precious time with us is highly appreciated. We will see you in the next video.